When I lived on the big island of Hawaii, I lived in several communities. I lived in Cinderland. I lived in Ed Fraser's farm. I lived on Akikuahara's land. I lived in the Monkey Temple. I lived with Mr.Parks in a healing community. And this story is about when I lived at Mr. Parks' house in a healing community. So I lived in this home that was on a big piece of land across from Green Lake. And Mr. Parks was an Asian man. I believe he was Chinese. And he taught this healing community. So the things he taught were delight happy. And that was about having a sunny heart and being happy and having joy in your heart. It's called a sunny heart. He also had like a soup diet where you would have soup and bread as your main food, sort of like a veggie soup, like a fast. And that was one of the things they did there, as well as buckwheat noodles was another thing that they did there for food. And they were saying it was all about cleansing out. And another thing they did was you would hit your stomach. And this was part of the delight happy thing that we were learning. And so you would hit your stomach for like 5 minutes straight. You'd beat on your stomach, and that was part of feeling delight happy. And it actually was an exercise where you hit your stomach and you laugh as hard as you can. And that was an exercise that we had there. And you would just laugh and laugh and laugh. And that was just something we all did together as a group. And that was about having a sunny heart. And this was a really interesting community. I remember a couple of the girls that lived there, Silka and Yana were a couple of the girls that lived there. And we all bonded. We were all really close. And it was really a beautiful experience. And I just remember I loved living there. I felt really secure. And Mr. Parks also did cupping, and he also taught some of the people that live there how to do cupping. And cupping is where you put these cups, I believe it's a Chinese thing, where you put cups on the back of someone, these little round cups, and it pulls out toxins out of your back and out of your body. And then when you take the cups off, there's kind of like marks left behind, but it's really good for relieving toxins. So I lived in this community and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And it was very calm. And we're learning principles of being happy. We're learning principles of being part of a community, being loving, being delight happy. And so I really did enjoy it. And then one day I felt like the community was changing. Mr. Parks moved to Hilo, so he was living far away, so we didn't have the master right there with us anymore. And I remember he did pass away, and we were all very sad, and we felt really, really sad when he died, even though he probably would have wanted us to be really happy, because he was just going to another dimension, and the other dimension I call heaven. And when he passed away, we were all wondering if we were going to continue the traditions he started, or we were going to continue the healing center he started. And I remember after he passed, we were just all wondering, like, will this place stay together? Will it be able to make it without Mr. Parks? And then one day, I was wondering if things were going to change around there, and new people had moved in and everything was changing. And I said, well, if I'm supposed to leave, God, please send me a sign, show me a sign. And then I felt in my heart that God was going to send me a sign. And I felt like in my heart, if the wind blew things down, then that would be a sign it's time to move on and to move. And I felt like sort of like Mary Poppins, when Mary Poppins said, when the wind changes, I will leave. And that's how I felt as well. So I did feel like a true Mary Poppins character. And so one day they believed in copper and putting copper, building like a room out of copper, just pieces of copper to give it high energy. And one day I remember the whole copper, it was copper poles, just blew over. And I said to myself, that's the sign. That's what I said, that if the wind blew hard and if the wind blew things over, it was time for me to leave. And when the copper house blew over, or the copper healing room blew over, I knew it was time to leave. And I was right. It was definitely time to leave. But I was excited that I could hear what God told me and to hear when God told me to leave. And that made me feel really good. It made me feel like I was really in tune with what was happening and what was to happen next. And then I continued my adventure across Pahoa on the Red Road. Aloha.